With a population of over 1.3 billion, India is a rich and diverse country, culturally, socially, and linguistically, a reflection of its history and past influences. This short film will take you to the realms of time when the telegraphy link was established between India and England and discuss how English in India has evolved over time. It also encapsulates the language landscape of India and reflects on the relationship between English and the Indian languages. Although only around 10% of Indians speak English, that counts up to a massive 125 million English speakers, making it the second largest English-speaking population in the world. The status of English as one of the two official languages reflects its importance, especially in business and administration.
Porthcurno, June the 7th, 1870. A cable is brought ashore that would soon form part of the first submarine cable linking England and India, the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. Laid on the seabed, the route went from Porthcurno to Carcavelos, Gibraltar, Malta, Alexandria, Suez, Aden, and finally Bombay. The Indian Mutiny of 1857 had demonstrated the need for rapid communication with India, via a network under England's control, as at that time it took a month to send a message from London to Bombay. In 1865, a step had been made with the first overland telecommunication link between Europe and India, but it was still uncertain and unreliable. With the new Red Sea Line of 1870, a message could arrive in mere minutes. In fact, at a party celebrating the opening of the cable, guests were invited to send messages to Bombay and see responses arrive within 15 minutes. At the telegraph station in Bombay, messages could be sent on to other parts of India, using the overland telegraph system developed by Dr. William O'Shaughnessy, known as the father of electric telegraph in India. As India's link to Britain and the rest of the empire, Bombay was an important hub of communications and of vital importance for Britain. The telegraph station there also represented a mixing of East and West, with workers from different parts of the world. In the early days, telegraph operation engineers had to be trained in England before going to work in India, so there were many British workers, as well as other Europeans and local Indian workers. With its telegraph cables snaking out under the sea, Britain had pulled its colonies closer. Easier and faster means of communication enabled Britain to exercise greater control, politically, economically, but also linguistically. Like how the internet and mass media is aiding the diffusion of English today, the telegraph would have also impacted the spread of English in the 19th century. As the Marconi map shows, English was the main language of telegraphy in many parts of the world, including India, and is likely to have been commonly used in telegraph stations like the one in Bombay, cementing its use in the civil service and in education. Although the telegraph network was by no means the only factor in the diffusion of English in India, leading to its status in 1947 as the only functional lingua franca in the country, it undoubtedly had an impact, as it meant that there was increased contact and communication between England and India. The intermingling of English and Indian workers at the telegraph stations would have also furthered the spread of English through the population. The diffusion of English even went as far as names. Accounts suggest that several Indian senders adopted common English names like Peter and John, as they believed that more attention was paid to the correct transmission of messages to Europeans. Inevitably, the prevalence of English in the telegraph industry and administration came at a cost for Indian languages, like Hindi, Bengali, and many others.
Though India became an independent nation on August 15, 1947, it declared itself a sovereign, democratic, and republic state with the adoption of the Constitution on January 26, 1950. The Indian Constitution envisaged that English would be phased out in favor of Hindi over a 15-year period, but gave Parliament the power to provide for the continued use of English even thereafter. Plans to make Hindi the sole official language of the Republic were met with resistance. given the plethora of languages used in various parts of the country. While there's no one Indian language, both Hindi and English are declared as the national official languages to be used for official written purposes throughout the country. Looking back, two contact languages have played a crucial role in the history of India: Persian and English. Persian was the court language during the Mughal period in India. It reigned as an administrative language for several centuries until the era of British colonization. Today, India is well known for its rich linguistic diversity, and rightly so. To put things into context, India is home to speakers of about 461 languages, of which 447 are actively used in daily communication. Amongst these, 121 languages have more than 10,000 speakers each, and 22 of these are officially recognized in the Indian Constitution. Almost every state in India has its own language. Maharashtra has Marathi, West Bengal Bengali, Punjabi is spoken in Punjab, and Kannada in Karnataka, and so on. These languages can further have multiple dialects and often have their own script. Being the mother tongue of approximately 43.6% citizens, Hindi serves as the lingua franca across much of North and Central India. However, fewer people speak and understand Hindi as you travel further south, which is dominated by the Dravidian languages. The language landscape in India, as you can see, is quite complex. Most people in India are multilingual or bilingual at the least. A child belonging to a Bengali family living in the state of Gujarat would converse in Bengali at home, speak the local language Gujarati with their neighbors and friends, and study Hindi and English at school. Hindi is derived from the family of Indo-Aryan languages that are all ultimately derived from Latin and Greek. Thus, English, Hindi, Bangla, Dutch, German, and French are all distant cousins. Contrary to English, where the pronunciation of certain words does not strictly follow the written form, Hindi is a phonetic language. Each word is pronounced according to its spelling. This makes the language easier to pronounce since it follows the written form all the time. As a continuously evolving language, English has borrowed many words from Indian languages, especially during the British colonization of India. For example, jungle, bandana, pajama are all adopted to English from Hindi. An interesting example is that of shampoo, which became a part of the English language in the 18th century. The word shampoo is derived from the Hindi word champo, which means to squeeze, knead, or massage. In Britain, the term and the concept was introduced by a Bengali trader who, along with his wife, opened a shampooing bath in Brighton in 1814. Similarly, the word bangle is derived from the Hindi word bangri, which originally meant colored glass ring ornaments worn on the wrist by Indian women. In India, English fluency is considered socially prestigious and important for job success and upward mobility. But acquiring fluent English requires rich and consistent language exposure, which unfortunately is accessible to only upper middle and upper class families in India. Together, this desire to speak fluent English combined with the inaccessibility to do so leads to a hybrid language that combines words and sentences from both languages only for conversational purposes. English, as we call it, is an amalgamation of Hindi and English within a conversation or even individual sentences. For instance, a English speaker would say, पिछले कुछ सालों में the number of unicorns emerging in India has been on a rise, which translates to, in recent years, the number of unicorns emerging from India has been on a rise. At the same time, there are Indianisms, words or phrases which are characteristic of Indian English. These are at times grammatically incorrect, literal translation from Hindi, and widely used. What is your good name? Myself Raj, are some common Indianisms. One Indianism, though, that actually makes logical sense is prepone, the opposite of postpone. Thus, from the lens of languages, the impact of English on Indian languages and vice versa has been enormous.
The relationship between India and England over the centuries has been a close one, and was clearly reinforced by the physical link of the telegraph cables and the communication that it allowed. Today, their relationship remains close, but more equal, now that they are both separate, independent nations. Instead of telegraph messages, the internet provides rapid communication between the two countries, and links are reinforced by trade deals, diplomatic missions, and migration. The rise of India as a powerful global economy and the world's largest democracy could, in the near future, even see it rival the power of its former oppressor.